We haven't spoken for a couple of months, but today gives me the opportunity to wish you a great new year, and I hope everything goes well for you, as I hope for our sector in itself. This week has been seeing a number of issues which are a little bit concerning. First, we've had a report from the IFS, which the government's financial policy seems to be squeezing, according to them, both the universities, the alumni, and their students. We're seeing further constraints on capital expenditure of universities. We're seeing the differentiation on the skills agenda between the FE colleges and the higher education colleges blurring. There's been a decline in initial teachers training recruitment, and we've seen an important new document called Dealing with the Future of the Teacher Excellence Framework. All of these are really important, alongside the growth and the projected growth of degree apprenticeships, which were well publicised in the recent apprenticeship week. The document I want to talk about and base this discussion around is the TFS, the Teaching Excellence Framework consultation paper, and the supporting documents that the Institute of Students has provided. Now, the headlines that catching detail of this report was that the IOS has the right to intervene when universities fail to reach the minimum benchmarks that the documentation recommends or consults upon. A key one of that is that employment after 15 months has to be in professional or managerial or associate managerial, or students need to be on higher education programs. This implies that those who don't achieve that level, those universities that don't achieve that level, and Middlesex was quoted as one of them that doesn't, are at risk of intervention and sanctions by the Institute, by the Office of Students. This is problematic because it comes amongst a consultation which tries to look at value for money and excellence, and I'll talk about excellence in a moment, from the sector. The issue is that as this document attempts to measure, it attempts to measure the student experience and student outcomes. Both of those are terribly serious. They do this by codifying attributes of these two issues. For instance, for student experience, they take a number of the NSS questions and cluster them into measurements that they feel will give them a good measure of the overall performance of the university, as well as individual performances of programs and departments. Now, these figures aren't going to be made readily available. The sub-figures aren't, but the main figures will be used to give a university a ranking similar to the ranking that it currently has. Now, the justification for all of this is on the basis of a term called excellence. It would be very helpful if the Office of Students could find a definition of excellence, but they're unable to. What in fact they do is say that if the performance of an institution is above the benchmarking, and that performance is significant, then that's high excellence, and if it's exceptional excellence. And all of that seems a little strange to me in the use of the word excellence, why use it? And so if we look at the notion of excellence in, say, Aristotle, we find that Aristotle defines excellence in two ways. There's one, which is the intellectual development and skills development. That, he rightly says, is the responsibility of the university. Or he doesn't actually say that, he says of teaching. The second is the moral development of the individual, and the moral development comes through habit. It comes from being exposed to high quality moral individuals and high quality moral communities. This leads not only to a development in the intellect, but a development into practical wisdom and ability to make the right decision at the right time. This second element appears nowhere in the Teaching Excellent Framework consultation. And it seems to me, particularly there's times in the world as well in the United Kingdom, for us not to pay attention to the kind of citizen we are facilitating through our institution is a huge oversight. I wonder why that is left out, particularly in another document, the Office of Students asks for the universities themselves to show a moral duty towards a levelling up agenda and in enabling students to be able to succeed in universities. So clearly the Office of Students has an appreciation of what is the good thing, the right thing to do. But when it talks about excellence in education, it talks only about the hedonistic, often, experience of students and the self-interested development of students in developing their own financially secure careers. This seems to me to be a problem. And what we ought to be doing is looking at how the vulnerable, how our plans for decolonization, for our ideas of making a safer, more just, more equitable society are also shown in the curriculum and are also manifest in the student experience and in the outcomes that our higher education system provides. So I wonder how independent and how really constitutive this document is. It seems to me that we are in a place where it's only codified knowledge that is going to be appreciated, and it's only codified knowledge that's going to be recognized. This is a problem for the universities and further education colleges and others, as the redrafting, one assumes, of a new white paper in higher education has been delayed, and one would hope will be available sometime in February. When this is made available, we all need to look carefully at what kind of organization we need to be to fulfill our role in a higher education sector that clearly needs to be more differentiated, seems to have an important place in developing the flourishing of our students, and to genuinely seek intrinsic, not only extrinsic, notions of excellence. Good to speak to you. Take care. Bye.